Assalamu alaikum everyone, and welcome back to the channel, and we are continuing with more about polynomials revision. We did 5 questions in the previous video, and now we'll continue with question 6. Now pause the video, try to do on your own first. This is very similar to the previous question. So I have my fx as this thing first, the expanded form, and then I also have the fx as the factorized form. Factorized means it's in brackets. Both of them are fx, so you can just make them as the same thing. Now there is so many unknowns, right? A, B, C and K. So your first step is to find the A, B and C at least, even if you don't find out K. K is also important, but then let's see if you can find it. So how do I do that? Expand everything first, compare the coefficients, and you'll find the answer. Okay, so this goes here, this goes here, and this goes here. And then also at the bottom, this. I don't know how it looks like a moon, but then most students call it moon method. Up to you, whatever you call it. So 2ax cubed, 2bx squared, oops, and then 2cx minus 3ax squared minus 3bx and minus 3c. Which one are you going to compare first? I would prefer comparing the x cubes first. You can write the whole thing by comparing the coefficients of x cubed, comma. From the first part, what do you have x cubes? This. Then from the second part, this. So it will be 6 equals to 2a, and the 2 here is multiplied, go to the other side, it will be divided, so a is 3. After this you can compare the x squares, but if you notice, actually all the x squares are having too many unknowns. Then I will come back to this later maybe. Let's compare the x. Even for x, actually the first part is numbers, that's okay, but then the second part, there is b and c, too many unknowns. Then let's do the constants. You can do without in order. So constants, so I'll compare the constants. From my first part, the constant is 12. From the second part, the constant is negative 3c, and the negative 3 goes to the other side, it will be divided, so negative 4 left. C is negative 4. Now that you found out C, let's go back to the previous step, the x ones. So from your upside you got, but we are comparing the x now. Upside you get 25, downside you get 2c minus 3b. The reason to do this now is because now you have c. So 2 times negative 4 minus 3b equals 25. So 25 equals to 2 times negative 4, negative 8. Do all the steps so that you're 100% clear what you're doing. And the 25 plus 8, if you can do it in heart, that's better. If you can't, you can also do it with calculator. I'm doing all the steps. So b is negative 11. Okay, you found a, b, c. Now k is up to you if you want to find it or not. If you have time, you can do it. K equals to 2b minus 3a, because you already know b and a, so it's easy to find out k. So that's for my part a, because part a I just needed a, b, c's. So I'm making that smaller because I need space for part b. I have space at the bottom, but then a lot of space, but it's for the video, that's why. And the part b, factorize. Factorize means in the answer you need to have brackets. So my fx, which one should I be using, this or this? Of course this one is already having some of the brackets, so it's much easier. So 2x minus 3, a is 3, b is negative 11, and c is negative 4. Alright, until here. And then the first part, nothing else can be factorized from it. How about this one? Can I further factorize it? Yes, there's a square. So you think of quadratic equation. Quadratic equation, you think of formula 01. So formula 01, click 3, negative 11, negative 4. You should be able to get the answer as x minus 4 and 3x plus 1. Okay, so that's the end, because you're already in the fraction in the brackets, factorize only. You don't have to find the value of x this time, because the question did not give you fx equals to 0. For example, this one, fx equals to 0, then you find the values of x, or you see the name, you see the wordings like roots or the answers or the solutions, then you find out x. But here no need, because you just need to factorize it. In the end, you just need brackets. So that's the end of your question. Good, then let's just continue. Questions next. Question 7. So you are given your fx. I like writing it once because it makes me clear that I know what I read and what I haven't read it. And then first of all, when it's divided by something something, the remainder is something something, so you are using the remainder theorem. It's divided by this thing, remainder is this. So let's do this first. F -1 whole equals to 9. That's your first information. The second information, it is divisible by x plus 4. What does divisible mean? Divisible means when it's divided by this thing, the remainder is a 0. That means it is a factor. Very important information. And we also know that the remainder is 0. So use the first information first. It might be of some use. And we always go in order, actually. Going in order may help you do the question quick. So x is replaced by -1 now, so just put it back. -1 plus 1 square, -1 plus h plus k, and it should equals to 9. This one first, -1 plus 1. 1 minus 1, 0. 0 square, 0. 0 times anything, also 0. So you just have a k in the end. You found out k. Lucky, right? And the next information, fx is divisible by this thing. So this thing is the factor. So when I put that as the x, -4, the remainder should be 0. So let's do that. -4 plus 1 square, -4 plus h plus k equal, okay, we already know, so replace it by the value, equals to 0. Until here all okay, right? And then -4 plus 1, -3 bracket, and then square it, you get the answer is 9. -4 plus h, open up the bracket, this and this, -36 plus 9h plus 9 equals to 0. So 9h, and then 36 minus 9, you get 27 there. H is 3. Hopefully you can see it. So h is 3. So now that you have h and k, can you rewrite the whole fx? You don't need to, but then it's better, right? Fx is x plus 1 square, h is 3 plus k 9. And then what's the question asking? When it's divided by this thing, find the remainder. Super easy question. Yeah, so let's find it. So find -2. What do you get? -2 plus 1, -2 plus 3. What do you get? -2 plus 1 is -1. -1 square is 1. 1 times 1 again, and then plus 9. You can get the answer as 10. Good. That's your answer. That's your remainder if it's divided by x plus 2. Yes, this is one of the way. The other way is long division, but who has time, right? We just need the remainder, so you can just use the remainder theorem. So that's it for this question. Let's just move on. Next. What do we have it there? So you have your fx. Let's write it once. X minus 2 square, x plus h plus k. And then we have our first information is divided by this thing, then the remainder is this thing. And it's divisible by this thing. Divisible means it is a factor. If it's a factor, that means the remainder is 0. So do the first information first, the green one. So f2 equals to 3. We do that first. Replace the x by 2. So 2 minus 2, 0. 2 plus h plus k equals to 3. 2 minus 2 is 0. So 0 times anything will still be 0. So k is 3. And then what's the second information? Second information is that when it's divided by that, the answer is 0. The remainder is 0. So 1 minus 2 square, 1 plus h plus k is 3 equals to 0. 1 minus 2, negative 1 square, bracket, remember the bracket, so 1. So you just have 1 plus h plus 3 equals to 0. H will be negative 4. How do I get negative 4? 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 goes to the other side, it will be a negative. So you found h, you also find k. That's your part A. Part A is done. And then for part B, let's rewrite the whole function first. X minus 2. H is 4 plus k. And then I don't like the question much because you have to expand everything. That's boring, right? By expanding everything, because you need to do fx equals to 0, and for that you need the factor. You do have it, but you also need to have the whole divided, but then that divided is not yet simplified, not yet in one thing. So you have to open up it, do the long division, find the quotient and everything, and then we do the question. So let's open up. X minus 2 square means x minus 2, x minus 2, and then x minus 4 later on. We do that, and then plus 3 in the end. So this. So you have x squared minus 4x plus 4, and then also do with x minus 4 plus 3. Again do dash. so 1 2 3, 1 2 3, like that. Let's do it. You have x cubed minus 4x squared plus 4x, and then negative 4x squared, negative 16x, negative 16 plus 3 in the end. That 3. I'll just move the things, a little bit here. And then further simplify. X cubed, negative 4, negative 8x squared, 4 minus 16, negative 12x minus 13. Let me see if I did anything wrong. I did, right? I hope I didn't. What is my h? H is negative 4. That's correct. And then what else? I have negative 16. Oh, it's positive 16x. So negative 4 times negative 4, right? So this should be 20x minus 13. So that's it. That's your fx. Now you can do your long division. So much to do, right? I have program, I can use that, but then some of you don't have it, so I'm not using that. Let me do once with the program. So I'll have the camera on. 1, negative 8, 20, and negative 13. So in my program, it's in program 4. So I put the highest power first, and then go everything in order. 1, negative 8, 20, negative 13, and then the question asks you for x. X means the factor. The value of the factor here is 1, so I input that, and I will get the answers in order. So I will have 1, negative 7, and 13. What does that mean? That means this thing will equals to that factor first. Factor is negative 1, and then I had 1, negative 7, and 13, right? So I will write 1, negative 7, and then 13. I will always, because this is cube, so I had 1 here, so 2 1 0, like that. That's my fx. This is just the fx. Now I need to do fx equals to 0. Fx equals to 0. So x minus 1, this thing, equals to 0. How do I do this? So either of them is 0, or else how would you make it 0, right? Here you can get a very pretty answer. This is a real number. Is the question asking about real? Yes, real. They are saying, is it only one real? We will say, see. How about this one? There's a square. What do you think of? Quadratic equation. Quadratic equation, you think of from the 0 1. Uh-oh, you got a Math error, right? Let me click it once with you in case you don't believe your own calculator. Formula 0, 1. You click 1, -7 and 13, right? And you get oops, math error. What does that mean? That means there is no real root for this one. But markers are like, please don't use calculators. So how are we gonna prove to them? So if you see math error, that means you already know it's unreal, but then we use a thing called delta to prove it. Delta means b squared minus 4ac. It determines how many roots that we have. If your answer of delta is greater than 0, equals to 0, or less than 0. If it's greater than 0, we call them, it has two distinct roots. If it's equals to 0, then we call one equal root, or two equal roots, one root, or basically just one root. And then this one, no real root. So we have to find the value of delta from this equation and then find out if the answer is positive, equals to 0, or negative. How do I do that? B means what, A means what, and C means what? It's not the value that you found from part A. It's different. It came from this equation, the quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So B is the coefficient of x, which is -7 here, minus 4. A is the coefficient of x squared, which is 1 here. And c is the constant. So find out the value. What do you get? You should be able to get that as -3, which is less than 0. And if it's less than 0, so we will say this whole thing, x squared minus 7x plus 13, has no real roots. Good? Easy peasy? That's good. So we know that this is a real, this has no real roots. So how many real roots do we have? So we have only one real root for fx. So is the claim correct or not? So we agree. Cool. So this question was hard. I know. Pause the video, digest it, and then redo it. After redoing it, then you can see if you are actually correct. The hardest part is this last part only, actually. All the other is okay. Let's do next questions. Much easier. Is it? Maybe. This one, you have to make a polynomial on your own, make the fx on your own. So basically this thing, 7 divided by 2 means 7 equals to 2 times 3 plus 1. So divisor times quotient plus the remainder. So fx here will be, divisor is divided by something, quotient is the answer. How about remainder? Oops, we don't know. So r. And then we know our first information that f -2 is 18. So we do that. So we input x as -2. -2 plus 2 is 0. 0 times anything is give a bigger bracket, plus r, and it should equals to 18. -2 plus 2, 0. So it's already cut out. 0 times anything is 0. So only r is left. So remainder is 18. Lucky. So now you have your fx. Can you find out part A? f4. Replace the x by 4. So 4 plus 2, 4 squared minus 4 times 4 minus 3, bigger bracket because you have a bracket inside, and r is 18. So your answer, you will be able to get that as 0. If it's a 0, what does that mean? The remainder is 0. So it is a factor. What is a factor? X plus 4 or x minus 4? If it was x plus 4, you will be making x as -4. But if it was x minus 4, you will make it x as 4. Which one did we use? We used a positive 4. That means this is our factor. So x minus 4 is a factor of fx. Now you have your factor, you have your whole fx. Whole fx is here. You have to, of course, expand it and then do the long division with this one, and then you have the divisor and the quotient. No need the remainder because this is already a factor. Let's do it quickly. This should be our last question for this video, hopefully. Our fx is x plus 2, this thing, plus 18 in the end. Open up, open up, open up. Toot, toot, toot. You get x cubed minus 4x squared minus 3x. If I'm too quick, please also let me know in the comment section or anywhere, because sometimes I don't know your speed, right? For some students I am too slow, for some students I'm too quick. So it's better if you know me, if you know it, and you can ask the questions on your own, right? That's my fx. And then I do the long division now to find the quotient. X cubed. I divide it by the factor. Oh, this is gonna take time. This time I'm not explaining because you know what I'm doing, right? You can't leave -4 there, so you also do it together. Draw the line, nothing is left. -2 minus -4, you get a positive. Other things just copy down, and then x times what is x squared? 2x squared, so 2x. And then you can't leave the -4, so -8x. Minus -11 minus -8, you get -3x plus 12. And then so you have a -3x, -3 there, and then -4 times -3, positive 12. Everything is same already, so there's no remainder. So our fx is actually x minus 4 and x squared plus 2x minus 3. Click calculator, formula 01, maybe you can have it. Yep, lucky this time you do have it. Actually, usually when the question says factorize, it is most of the time possible to have x formula 01. But if the question asks you about real, unreal, rational, irrational, then there is a chance it's either ugly numbers or math error. Okay, until here. Question 10, next, right? I can continue that in next video. Till then, you can think about it and see if you can do it. If I have time, then I will make the video, because I might not have time anymore actually, or I will have time after a long time. I will be uploading these 3 parts first, and then all the others maybe after a few days or later on, hopefully before the exams. So till then, see you. Allah Hafiz.